Now, joining me here in the studio for more insight on the Defense Forum is Sourabh Gupta. He is an international relations policy specialist based here in Washington, D.C. First, I want to get your reaction to the Chinese defense minister's speech highlighting the U.S.-China trade war, Taiwan, and the South China Sea, as we just heard.
Yes, particularly Taiwan was a new issue this year, and of course the trade war, because the trade war has been all over the news and it's in an aggravated phase. But typically when we've had the Shangri-La dialogue last couple of years, it's been focused on the South China Sea. This year Taiwan has really come to the fore because there have been a couple of troubling actions in Congress primarily with regard to Taiwan. But also the executive branch, there's been a lot more navigations through the Taiwan Straits. And so at the Chinese end, there's fear that that status quo in the Taiwan Strait is being is not being upturned, but is being played around with, which can unleash all sorts of problems in that region.
How soon was Seoul's appearance? We heard this is the second time in 8 years that China has sent a top-level delegation. What do you make of the timing and just the overall message that China is trying to send to the region and to the world?
It was important that he was there simply because on this very day, not on the very day, but at that very moment, the US released its Indo-Pacific Strategy Report. And in that Indo-Pacific Strategy Report, the US talks of China as a revisionist power seeking regional hegemony. I don't think that's the way most of the Asian defense ministers who were there at the venue felt about this, but it is important to rebut these allegations right there and then at the highest level. It also helps that this year the US delegation is not led by a uniformed defense secretary. It's someone in an acting capacity who doesn't have really that sort of street cred within that community. And so it was time to show that the Chinese have come really with the top star rather than the Americans. But China has better relations, improving relations with everybody in Asia at this point of time. And I think this is a moment to capitalize, and that's why we saw a senior official at that level coming to the Shangri-La dialogue.
Interesting point you make. Patrick Shanahan is just the acting defense secretary, certainly different credentials than Jim Mattis, who's the former Marine general who held that position. Despite the competing speeches between the U.S. and China, you did see these two defense ministers meet on the sidelines of this forum, and both did agree that Sino-U.S. military relations are still very important.
It is very important, and credit must go out here to the Trump administration, at least in the area of military-to-military contacts. You know, there were real problems even during the Obama period when a U.S. defense chief was simply talking past the defense minister, never willing to meet the Chinese defense minister. And we had Secretary Mattis make it a point to reach out and meet. The institutionalized military-to-military dialogues have been going on. There has been a little bit of suspension for a couple of months, but they've happened in 2017, they happened in 2018. It's good to see defense chiefs speaking, and I think credit is due to both ends for this.
All right, Sourabh Gupta, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.